Holy, it looked like the offseason was starting to slow down, but the Steelers gave us another big surprise. So obviously the Steelers were in need of a quarterback for the longest time, and what happened a couple weeks ago is that they ended up signing Aaron Rodgers to a 1-year deal. Honestly, that news didn't hit the same as it would have 5 to 8 years ago, but Aaron Rodgers is still a great quarterback, and he's obviously an improvement from Justin Fields. But now we're going to take a look at what happened most recently. So in case you guys haven't heard, Pittsburgh and Miami finalized a trade in which the Steelers are sending over Minkah Fitzpatrick to Miami in exchange for Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith. So when I first looked at this trade, it didn't seem too crazy because I only saw that they were trading Minkah Fitzpatrick for Jalen Ramsey. So it honestly looked like a one-on-one trade. Like, both players are really good and they've had a history of being Pro Bowlers and this and that, being the best at their position. So it just looked like a pretty even one-on-one trade. But then you have to look at everything else that's involved in that trade. First of all, they're not just trading Jalen Ramsey. Miami's also giving Pittsburgh Jonnu Smith, which was one of their best tight ends and one of the best tight ends in the NFL this past season. So this offseason, something that Pittsburgh really needed was some support on offense, and that's exactly what they're getting. So if you guys remember, I talked about how Pittsburgh picked up DK Metcalf from Seattle. So that added another elite wide receiver to the team. Yes, they did get rid of George Pickens.
We do not care.
But whatever, they still have an elite wide receiver on their team. And then obviously, like I just said, they signed Aaron Rodgers, so now they have a good quarterback behind center. And to add to that, they now have Jonnu Smith, who, like I said, was one of the best tight ends in the NFL this past season. So Jonnu Smith, up until pretty much last season, was a whatever player in the NFL. But last season, he had his career season. He played all 17 games last season, and he finished the year with 88 receptions, 884 yards, and 8 receiving touchdowns. And if you also take a look at his PFF, he finished with a 78.2 overall grade, which is 5th amongst 37 tight ends in the league. And he finished with a receiving grade of 84, which is also 5th amongst 37 tight ends. So Jonnu Smith last season put up great numbers, and he was one of the best players in Miami. This obviously earned him the honors to being selected to a Pro Bowl. I think that's a great addition to the Steelers. Like I said, they were in need of support on offense. So now that they have one of the top tight ends in the league, it's going to give Aaron Rodgers another target. Now let's take a look at the Minkah Fitzpatrick versus Jalen Ramsey. So again, when I first saw the trade, I saw, oh, star defensive back, another star defensive back, trade them up. Cool. But then you have to look at it like deeper than that. So if you guys didn't know, Pittsburgh has a really good secondary coming into the 2025 NFL season. They already had Joey Porter Jr., who's a really great cornerback. And on top of that, they added Darius Slay, who's a veteran. And yeah, he's getting a little bit old, but he's still a really great player. And before, they had Minkah Fitzpatrick, who has had a couple of down seasons lately. But before that, he was one of the best safeties in the entire NFL. So looking at that lineup, it was like, okay, damn, like the Steelers are actually serious about this defense. But then this happens. And now you take away one of the best, like I said, safeties in the entire NFL in Minkah Fitzpatrick, and you bring in Jalen Ramsey. And it's like, sick. We have Jalen Ramsey, one of the best cornerbacks all time. One of the best cornerbacks in recent history, at least. But then you have to look at it like, oh, okay, so like, where are they going to play him? Because like I said, the Steelers already have a really great secondary, right? So it's like they have their secondary established, but now you're getting rid of your safety and you're bringing in another cornerback. So it's like, who are you going to have at safety? Are you going to get someone else on safety? And then you're going to have to move one of the cornerbacks inside and then have Jalen at the corner? Or are you going to move Jalen inside and then try to find a new safety?
Huh?
Or are you going to move Jalen to safety and then just keep everyone else where they already are? And I think that's what the Steelers are going to do. So it wouldn't make any sense for Pittsburgh to get rid of Minkah unless they were trying to put Jalen at safety. Because like I said, they already had their secondary established for the upcoming season. But now your only option realistically would be to move him at safety. But the thing is, Jalen Ramsey isn't a safety. That's the thing that kind of confuses me. It's like, you have your cornerback situation already set up. Why would you add another and get rid of your safety and then make him play safety? You know what I mean? It just feels like an extra step for basically nothing. Don't get me wrong, I think Jalen Ramsey is a better defensive back than Minkah Fitzpatrick, and I don't think it's close. But the thing is that Jalen Ramsey isn't a safety. To be fair, like the way I look at it though, is that when you reach that level of football and you become an elite amongst all NFL players, you're good at what you do. You're athletic, you have the strength, you have the speed, you have the intelligence, whatever it takes to become an elite footballer. So that being said, if you're moving cornerback to safety, which is the case here, elite players like that, they'll figure it out. Don't get me wrong, it is a difficult adjustment and it is hard, but it's not like you're moving from cornerback to running back or like from cornerback to wide receiver. There's obviously players in the past that have played both sides of the field. Most recently, we have Travis Hunter. That's a perfect example. But like when you're switching over from cornerback to safety, like the basics are still the same. And Jalen Ramsey has been in the league for so long, and he's been playing football his entire life. So he knows how football works, and he understands the assignments that safeties are responsible for. So I don't think the adjustment is going to be that crazy. And one of the things that he's talked about is how he's been able to be flexible in the way they play him on defense, how sometimes he's played inside as opposed to playing on the corner. And he also openly stated that he would also be interested in taking some snaps at safety. If I find the video, I'll just put it up for you. But yeah, so that being said, okay, cool. So it's like you have a guy that's an elite football player who's played on the inside before and has interest in playing safety. So I think if you look at it that way, it makes sense for Pittsburgh to play him at safety for the upcoming season. But at the end of the day, you're still making a gamble, because it's like you had someone that was elite at the thing they already did. You had someone that was elite in their position, and you had your secondary set up. So now you're getting rid of that guy to bring in another elite football player. Don't get me wrong, an elite football player, but now you're playing him out of position. So now it's like, yeah, you have to gamble on his ability to pick up on everything that's required to play safety effectively. But I think, honestly, like I said, Jalen Ramsey is smart enough and he's good enough at what he does that he's going to be able to figure it out. I don't think that's a concern. What I'm more concerned about, this is like half serious, but like like Jalen Ramsey and DK Metcalf are now on the same team. And if you guys weren't aware, DK Metcalf and Jalen Ramsey have been going back and forth for a couple of years now. Jalen Ramsey, he's an elite cornerback, like I've already said multiple times in this video. And he's also one of the best trash talkers in the league. He gets into it with a bunch of NFL players. And that was no different with DK Metcalf. Obviously, DK Metcalf also has short temper, and he is known for getting into it with defensive backs. He's done so on multiple occasions throughout his NFL career, and these two have gone at it, like I said, multiple times in the past. So now you're gonna have both of these guys in the same locker room. Practices are gonna be interesting. So it's like, if they can like look past that and be like, yeah, whatever, like we're playing football, blah, blah, this and that, cool. And then they're able to like just work together and make things work, cool. But it's a possibility that they don't get along at all. And if that's the case, then things are going to be interesting, because you just signed both of these players. So it's like, okay, who do you get rid of? If it's bad to the point where you have to get rid of one of them, who do you get rid of? You're going to get rid of Jalen? You got rid of Minkah Fitzpatrick just now this offseason, and now you're going to have to get rid of Jalen? That's crazy. If you get rid of DK, who's going to be your wide receiver? You guys got rid of George Pickens because you brought in DK Metcalf. So now it's like, okay, so who's going to be catching the football? Yeah, you have Jonnu Smith. Maybe that's why they added Jonnu Smith to the deal. Maybe that's why they added Jonnu Smith to the deal, because if someone's gone, it's going to be DK. That's hilarious. No, but in all seriousness though, that's honestly a really interesting trade. I wasn't expecting that one. I don't think many people saw that coming. I think both teams can make it work. Actually, I didn't even look at it from the Miami side of Miami's getting Minkah Fitzpatrick. And if you guys didn't know, Minkah Fitzpatrick got drafted by Miami a few years back. So now he's being reunited with the team. But the reason why he left in the first place was because he really didn't like it there, and he requested a trade. And that's how he left Miami. And now he's coming back. That's going to be like an awkward reunion. But yeah. We'll see how they make that work. But now that's Miami is honestly looking pretty shaky. Yeah, they've made a lot of moves. They got rid of Raheem Morstead. Now they got rid of Jonnu Smith. They got rid of Jalen Ramsey. So it's like all of these big names that they brought in to try to make it far in the playoffs, like in 2021, 2022, whatever. Most of those guys are gone. So it's like all that money that they invested, because they invested a lot of money. So all that money they threw in to try to become a successful franchise, it just didn't work out for them. And it's honestly kind of sad. Like me, I like Miami. You guys probably seen my Miami hat up there. Miami's sick. Obviously, it's a nice city. I think their uniforms are the best in the league. They're so beautiful. The teal with the orange, oh bro, it's so nice. But yeah, so it's like they invested so much money in making a team that could compete, that could go far, and they just haven't. You had Jonnu Smith, who was having a career year, and then you got rid of him. Jalen Ramsey, got rid of him. Morstead, got rid of him. And who do you have under center? Tua? It's like Tua, like, don't get me wrong, I think he's a good quarterback, but you just can't count on him to get a team far. Like, that's just the way it is, to be honest. So like, yeah, Miami, I think they're done with their little experiment. The Miami experiment is over. They're trying to free up some salary cap so they can get, I don't know. I don't know what their plan is. Like, they have the salary cap now. Like, they got rid of everyone. So like, we'll see what they're gonna do to try to make things work. On the other hand, on the flip side, Pittsburgh, holy, they've gone all in this offseason. And you guys probably already know, but Pittsburgh traditionally has been a very like traditional team in terms of offseason. Like they've always been, they never made any crazy signings, like no crazy trades, anything like that. And then this offseason, holy, they've added so many great players. Brought in Darius Slay, brought in DK Metcalf. They just signed Aaron Rodgers, and now they're bringing in Jalen Ramsey. Holy, bro, the Steelers are actually going all out this offseason. I don't know what their plan is. I think they're actually trying to be like Super Bowl contenders. Aaron Rodgers, he's on a 1-year deal. So he's expressed that he wants a shot at a Super Bowl with a good franchise.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is it. You know, that's why we just did a 1-year deal.
With a historically good franchise, which Pittsburgh is. So yeah, so I think this is the Steelers trying to make a push. Are they going to be able to reach the Super Bowl? You're still facing off against the Chiefs. You're still facing off against Buffalo. You're still facing off against the Ravens. There are so many good teams in the AFC. So it's like, yeah, you have all these great players, but are they good enough? And do they have the chemistry where they can beat all of these elite teams and these Super Bowl contenders? I guess we're going to have to see. So I think this trade is interesting. Pittsburgh definitely got the win. Yeah, Miami kind of got fleeced. I wouldn't say they got fleeced, but they caught the short end of the stick, definitely. But I guess it's a W for Miami. Like, they weren't really gonna do anything this year. They weren't gonna go very far. So just might as well just restart the whole thing. I don't know if they're in full rebuild mode, but yeah, just get rid of whatever you can and then just try to make it work, whatever. I'm excited to see what Pittsburgh is gonna be like. They're no longer gonna be like a 9-8 team. I don't know if they're gonna reach Super Bowl, but watch out for the Steelers next season. I'm excited to watch. I feel like their playstyle is going to be interesting. You have some exciting players on there, some very big personalities. So it's going to be exciting to watch. The Steelers are going to be an exciting team next season. So keep an eye out for that. Oh, actually, oh, holy. And then another thing I forgot. The Steelers still haven't re-signed TJ Watt. TJ Watt his contract has been up for negotiation for a while, and they still have not arrived to a conclusion. We don't know what's going on with that. Is he going to re-sign with Pittsburgh? Is he not? Honestly, like, if things are taking this long, I'm not saying he's leaving, but if something's taking this long, then you're probably just not coming back. Like, if you've missed practices already, you've missed training camp, blah, blah, all of these things, you're realistically probably not going to come back, or at least that's not what your state of mind is at this point in time. But to be fair, with all of the new additions that Pittsburgh's had, having TJ Watt on defense for this upcoming season as well, is definitely going to boost their chances of getting far in the playoffs, maybe even reaching a Super Bowl. TJ Watt maybe sees that. Maybe they see all the moves that Pittsburgh's been doing and they decide that they want in on that and they want to try to help the team get to a Super Bowl. So I guess we'll see. We're gonna get some updates on that hopefully soon. There's not a whole lot of time left in the off season, but we'll see what happens with that. Anyways, that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. With the updates, it's just hard to keep up. This off season, so many things have been happening like left and right, and it's like you have to keep an eye out for so many things. So it's definitely a lot harder to do these than it is to do player stories, but I'll try to do both as much as I can. If you guys have any recommendations for my next video, make sure to leave it in the comments. And if you like this content, if you like my channel, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and just help us grow as much as possible. Your support, like I said, means everything to me, and it's honestly been a great journey so far. So we look forward to a couple more videos. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys on the next one.